Welcome back to another episode on Anxiety Doesn't Own Me podcast. My name is Emmanuel Isaacson, and I'm an anxiety coach who helps people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally. Something that has helped me to overcome and heal my anxiety was to develop a growth more oriented mindset. And whenever I started to implement this thing and start having a more growth-oriented mindset instead of saying, this is who I am, this is what I know, and that things are just the way they are, and I'm not able to do this and this and that, I'm not able to overcome my situation. That's whenever it kind of started to change for me whenever I started to overcome my anxiety, because I started to look at things differently. Whenever I used to have, let's say, for example, intrusive thoughts, I would stop saying to myself, like, oh my God, why am I dealing with these intrusive thoughts? I hate these intrusive thoughts. I'm going to be stuck like this for the rest of my life with these intrusive thoughts. They're really annoying. They're aggravating. I don't know what to do. I'm sick and tired of living like this. What I started to do instead, what I told myself, you know what? Let's try to change these intrusive thoughts. I want to change it to more of a positive way. So I started to maneuver it into more positive thinking instead of the intrusive thoughts winning. So whenever I used to have the thought of me, whenever I was talking with somebody face to face, of me punching the person that's in front of me in the face, instead what I would do is picture myself hugging that person. Or even I spoke to one of my clients where he has these intrusive thoughts of punching somebody also as well. So I asked him, like, okay, what do you think you can do? How can we change the thought, with the intrusive thought? He said, you know what? Instead of me picturing punching them in the face, I can picture myself fist bumping them. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start fist bumping them. And that way I can change my thought of intrusive thoughts of me punching them to me fist bumping them. But the point over here is that we have to have a growth more oriented mindset. We have to think be more hopeful about the future, be more motivated about, overcoming this thing and looking at overcoming anxiety as a way of strengthening yourself. And again, I know, guys, and I always say this, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not, because dealing with anxiety is not easy. It's hard to deal with the intrusive thoughts, to deal with the physical sensations, to deal with our emotional state and our mindset. It's not in a stable condition right now to have that, growth-oriented mindset, because the negativity is so strong. It is so strong, but we need to start. We need to start thinking more in a more growth-oriented way. I remember when I started to change my mindset from a negative and just demotivated and just down and hopeless to more of a growth-oriented mindset was whenever I wanted to end it. That's whenever I started to make a change, and I started to tell myself, and I remember I spoke about this, I think, in the last episode, where I said to myself, like, Emmanuel, you're a coward. You are a coward. Who says this is the easy way out? We have to go through the hard way. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. And in that moment, I started to change my mindset, to think more positively, to look at the situation differently, to start being more growth-oriented instead of just putting myself down and getting frustrated and not getting anywhere and getting tired already of dealing with this thing, and more embracing my situation and kind of accepting my situation. Not accepting what I was going through, but at the same time working towards getting out of the situation. So I started to be okay with it, and I started to look at things differently. And this thing really helped me out with a lot of things in life. Because as you guys know, life is not an easy thing. It's a struggle. It's hard. Every single day, everybody deals with different battles. And it's not an easy thing. And sometimes life will smack you from the side, like, you're just having anxiety. Like, you're like, hey, I never experienced this before. I never went through this. Like, all of a sudden, boom, I have this anxiety. I've never experienced this before, and I don't know how to get out of it. So sometimes life is going to hit us on the blind side, and we need to be prepared for that, and we need to have the right mindset in order to deal with those situations. Like, I remember a few years ago, whenever I found that my brother had a tumor, I was in shock. I was like, my brother has a tumor. I'm like, and it was a big tumor. It was a big one where he almost died. And thankfully he came out of it, and today he is alive and he's cancer free and he doesn't have a tumor anymore. And it was a miracle. He didn't have to go through any chemotherapy or any surgery or anything like that. It was all natural remedies that we gave him. And thankfully he was doing much better, and he's doing much better. Right now he doesn't have anything. But like, it was just like, it was a shock to us. It was a shock to the entire family. Like, we weren't prepared for that. And I remember being at the hospital, and I told his wife, I'm like, this guy went through some hells in his life. I know. I'm like, he's going to get out of this. I said to her, I'm like, he's going to get out of this. All these doctors that said he has about 2-3 weeks to live, trust me, he's going to live much longer than them. And you know what? A few weeks later, he started to reverse his entire situation started to get much better, which I'm very grateful for. And it's just amazing to like see that and to be able to like, it was a miracle. It was nothing less than a miracle. And it was like amazing to see that he's alive today and he's doing fine, because he was on his deathbed and he was literally not able to walk, talk, understand anything. It was affecting his entire body, his entire system. And I remember I used to have to shower him. I used to take care of him. And it was very difficult for me to see that, what he was going through. But thankfully, now he does everything on his own. He's able to walk. He's able to talk. He understands. He remembers. Remember, the doctor's like, he's not going to remember or anything like that. And everything normally. Again, the emotional part, what he went through was very hard. And I try to work with him, and it's not an easy thing to work with him because of, what he went through, which makes sense. It makes sense. And we all went through something, guys. We all went through something. And it can come from where we suppressed certain things that we just, we just put it down. We try to ignore it, from our pressures in life, the struggles that we had to go through in life, that eventually, boom, we had anxiety. But if we build the right mindset, we have a growth-oriented mindset, we will be able to deal with situations in a much better way so that we don't have to experience anxiety anymore. This is, again, that point whenever I changed from a very negative mindset and a very hopeless mindset to more growth-oriented mindset and more hopeful and more positive. My life started to change with anxiety. It started to change. It started to become much better. And trust me, today I still have struggles with different things in life. I do have struggles, and I think about, okay, how do I deal with this? How can I look at it differently? And sometimes I fail. I'm not perfect at it. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not. I remember I even told my wife this whenever we were dating. I'm like, listen, I don't know, whenever we're starting to become serious and everything, I'm like, listen, I'll tell you something about me. I'm not perfect. If you're looking for the perfect guy, I'm not that guy. And I'm not looking for you to be perfect. I know nobody is perfect in this world. Nobody is. It's impossible. And that's okay, I told her. I'm like, I'm not looking for perfection. I know you're going to mess up. And I told you you're going to make mistakes. And I'm going to make mistakes. And I'm going to mess up. Again, don't make, crazy big mistakes. That's not what I'm saying. Of course, mistakes have consequences. And you have to think about that. Of course. I'm not saying being reckless over here. But my point is that we're going to make mistakes. And we do. We do. We say things that we don't mean sometimes because of this, how it is with kids. Sometimes it's not easy, but we apologize and we repair and we move forward. But I'm not looking for the perfection. I'm not perfect and you're not perfect and nobody is. Your life is not going to be perfect, but And I remember I spoke about this a few months ago, about I was thinking about with my kids. I said to myself, my kids, I don't want them to go through certain hardships in life. I don't want them to experience certain hardship that I had to go through. So I'm going to try my best to make sure that they don't have to go through that. But I told myself, I'm like, wait, how is that really preparing them for hardships in life? Because life is not an easy thing. They are going to experience hardships. So I can't let them avoid the hardships. I have to teach them how to deal with hardships, how to look at situations differently. That's what I need to do. That's going to help them much more because they cannot avoid hardships in life. They're going to experience it. Even somebody who has the easiest life in the world has certain hardships in life. They go through hardships. It's impossible not to. And if you're able to deal with the hardships in the right way, with a certain mindset, with a positive mindset, with a hopeful mindset, with a growth-oriented mindset, and looking at situation as a way of building yourself, you will be able to handle situations, any situation that happens to you. You might in the beginning get hurt and you might fall down, but you will get back up much quicker. Like whenever I heard the news of my brother, it put me down like crazy. But I got up much quicker because of the mindset that I have. And even with the struggles that I have with today, it doesn't matter with what, with my kids, with my wife, it doesn't matter with what, even with myself personally, I sometimes get down, but I pick myself back up. I say to myself, wait, like, let's say I get an argument with my wife, and I don't like getting arguments with my wife. Couples, they argue sometimes. I say to myself, okay, Emmanuel, how can you do next time that you can avoid this argument, that you guys don't have to get into an argument? Maybe you can tell her something that's frustrating you in a calmer situation, not whenever things are very stressed out. And that's what I started to do. I stopped to talk to her about things that were bothering me whenever we were stressed out. I'm like, oh, why does it have to be like this? Why can you not do this? And why it's not like this? While it's in the situation, but afterwards, whenever we're calmer and we're ever to ourselves and our kids are asleep, I'm able to talk to her in a much calmer tone, and we're able to like accept it. So I always try to learn from the mistakes. I always try to learn from it and grow from it. You understand? Instead of me being perfect and putting myself down, I'm like, oh, why is it that, she never listened to me? Oh, this relationship was like this. It really sucks and this and that. I can just put myself down and also her down in the situation. I can put ourselves down and it's not really going to help. Also with our anxiety, with your personal anxiety. You can tell yourself like, oh man, why am I always struggling with this every single day? I'm trying so many things. It really sucks. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm going to be stuck like this for the rest of my life. Instead of saying, you know what? I'm going to get out of this one day of my life. This is a learning opportunity for me. I know that I'm going through hell right now, and that's okay. People go through hell sometimes. I am going to get out of this. It's going to hurt. It's going to bother me. I'm in a very intense emotional place right now, but eventually I'll get to the place where I will be anxiety free, where I'll be much happier. And I'm going to learn from this. And every single time that I feel down, it's an opportunity for me to grow. That way, guys, you'll be able to handle your situation and also other things in life whenever that does happen in a much better way. If you did like this episode, please click the like button and leave a 5-star review. The reason why I ask is because this way we're able to reach more people. And the more people that we can actually reach, the more people that we can actually help. Because my mission in this world, my purpose is to help people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally and show them that it's possible to overcome. Thank you guys. Take care. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.